So this week we are going to continue with Crime and the Royal Family Behind Palace Gates Part 2. In this series we are truly going to focus on happenings behind palace gates, on palace grounds, in servants' quarters, and in the halls and corridors of the palaces themselves. I have no idea as to how many of you know who George Smith is. Well, I think every town in England may have at least one George Smith. But the one I'm talking about is the one who alleged to have seen the then Prince Charles in a compromising position with another servant of his, one he apparently cares for a lot, namely Michael Fawcett. George Smith served as a corporal in the Welsh Guards during the Falklands War and was on board the ship Sir Galahad when it was bombed by Argentine warplanes. Although I'm not going to touch on other allegations made about and against George Smith, I'm going to mention that he did receive treatment for depression in 1995. George Smith was seconded to Prince Charles's staff from the Welsh Guards in 1986. In one of his claims, he claimed that he became a trusted member of staff, even sometimes entrusted with the task of arranging Charles's meetings with Camilla. George Smith alleged that in 1989 a colleague invited him for Sunday lunch at his London home. After a meal accompanied by beer, and I mean lots of it, George Smith alleged that he fell asleep on a settee, insensible from drink, and woke to discover that he had been raped. Mr. Smith, who was married with 2 children at the time, did not tell anyone because he claimed that he would have lost his livelihood. And if you listen to the rest of the story, you will hear that that fear was indeed not unfounded. In 1995, during a visit by Prince Charles to Egypt, the same man allegedly attempted to rape Mr. Smith again while he was asleep at the British Embassy. This attack, according to Smith, left him deeply traumatized, and as a footnote from my side, likely the reason for the need to be treated for depression. Now listen to this. This is the official version, the palace version. At the same time, Mr. Smith's marriage ended. He was unable to cope with work due to the combination of problems. He was shown sympathy by the prince's staff and treated at the Priory Clinic at palace expense. Just think about that. Okay, so Smith said that at the clinic he spoke to staff about how disturbed he was by the Falklands experience, but that he did not mention the alleged assaults. Again, connect the dots. His job, his place of work was paying for his treatment. Smith claimed that Diana visited him at the Priory twice and asked him to call on her at Kensington Palace to discuss his troubles. Smith said he told Diana about the assaults, and during her second visit she taped his claims, promising that it will not be revealed to anyone. However, the palace subsequently launched an investigation organized by Fiona Shackleton, who described the claims as indeed very serious. According to the eventual report, Prince Charles told Miss Shackleton that Mr. Smith should be dismissed, but that he should be properly looked after. Charles also asked Fiona Shackleton to ask Diana to stop interfering. Charles also stated for the record that he did not believe that the alleged attacker was capable of such an act. Now, at this point, I'm no longer going to beat around the bush. The alleged attacker was none other than Michael Fawcett, Charles's beloved friend and valet. Sir Stephen Lamport, Prince Charles's deputy private secretary, wrote to Miss Shackleton asking if an agreement can be reached with Mr. Smith to avoid an investigation. George Smith told police that Miss Shackleton wanted to pay me a settlement to keep my mouth shut. George Smith eventually agreed to a £38,000 payoff, almost 3 times the sum he would have received if he won a claim for unfair dismissal. Miss Shackleton later told Diana's sister, Sarah McCorkadale, "I was asked to make it go away. It was one of the lowest points in my professional career." Now, all of the above information comes from the Pete report. And although Pete states that Fiona Shackleton was entirely reasonable and proper in her decision to investigate allegations of rape, and other members of St. James's Palace should not have treated the matter so dismissively, the report still concluded that Smith's allegations were unsubstantiated. But now, okay, had it ended there? But it did not by a long shot. Remember when police were investigating claims of theft against Paul Burrell? Well, that was when Paul Burrell actually stated and verified that the tapes Diana made of George Smith actually existed, but that it had disappeared between her making it in 1995 and her death in 1997. Actually, he got more detailed than that. The tape's existence became a crucial element in the trial of former royal butler Paul Burrell. And that's what I'm saying. It became even more detailed when he alleged that the tape was kept in a small mahogany box. Paul alleged that the lock was broken on the box and the tape removed in the weeks after Diana's death. In 2004, the Sunday Telegraph offered Smith money to retract the allegation he made about Prince Charles and his valet Michael Fawcett. And Smith said that for £60,000 he would do so and even apologize to the king. Of course, the Telegraph had no intention of paying him, but of course they recorded him and it was used against him. Shortly after, though, he admitted to the Mail on Sunday that he was offered money to perjure himself. George Smith died at the age of 44. According to his father, Peter Smith, George had not been feeling well for a few days and was rushed to the Royal Gwent Hospital in Newport on August the 18th, I think in 2005, where he died of what was classified internal bleeding. Okay, guys, so that is the story of George Smith and the allegations he made against Prince Charles and Michael Fawcett. It's not for me to try and convince you that what he said was true or not, but this information is indeed public record, and you can decide for yourself whether you believe it has any merit or not. So, until we meet again on the next one, please take good care of yourself and each other. Bye.